The ripples turned into a wave. The senator went on to clarify those comments today.
I think it's too early, but I was using that and Iran-Contra and other similar situations, not just Watergate, Iran-Contra.
Joining us now with his take on all this is special report host Bret Baier. Good to see you, Bret. Well, you know, when John McCain says Watergate, people listen. But on the other hand, Watergate started out with a crime. There has been no crime here yet except for leaking, some very serious leaking that some say is on par with treason.
David, you're right, and I think that's why you saw Senator McCain walk that back, saying that it was starting to feel, with all the coverage, that it was becoming to a big event. The problem is that the coverage at some points is pretty breathless. We don't have the they're there yet. We are expecting Jim Comey to testify on Capitol Hill, perhaps as early as next week. There's some thought he might even appear Wednesday, but that hasn't been locked in by the House Oversight Committee, Jason Chaffetz. And you don't have the actual memos as of yet. We have reporting of the memos and what exactly the context was. So I think you're right. A deep breath at this moment is probably pretty good.
Well, the folks, the Times is staying by their story. They say the memo exists, or at least the sources they have say it exists. Assuming that the memo exists, some Democrats are saying that this is proof of obstruction of justice, to which the great scholar Jonathan Turley has said on our air, and as well as in the Hill newspaper. He's not a Republican, by the way. He said, if this is food for obstruction of justice, it is still an awfully thin soup. There are dozens of different variations of obstruction charges, ranging from threatening witnesses to influencing jurors. None would fit this case.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty powerful coming from somebody like Jonathan Turley. Again, we don't know what we don't know, David, and I think the context of these memos, how detailed they are, what, you know, was exactly said. We have our own confirmation that the memo exists and that it tracks roughly with what the New York Times quotes it as, in our own confirmation of that. But you know, the president, the administration is pushing back hard against this. And in the interview with Lester Holt with NBC, said definitively he had never asked for the investigation to come to an end. In fact, wanted it to speed up and continue.
Bret Baier, who you can see on Special Report tonight at 6 o'clock. A very important night for Special Report.
Yeah.
Bret, thank you very much. Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks, Dave.